us that there is hope. And thank you for being there and being our hope, doing whatever it is I was going to do. And you keep turning, not sure what to do about it. I was going to show you how pretty this is. The water is high, and those cattails are the ones from last year that are now laying on the water. I'd like to kayak and pick them all up, just rake the water and tidy it up so that when we swim in here, I mean, it doesn't really matter because that's all on the terraces on the edge anyway, but it's kind of nice. So this terrace goes down a foot or so, and then there's a terrace. So these willows I once planted here to make a blind, but now we have this, this willow. We moved the wood from the driveway over there. This is a teepee that I'm moving very slowly, like it's taking years to move. The green beyond it is from the Chains house, and 2 willow seats there, and anyway, so we're on the other end of Fiddlehead Pond. Sure looks different when you're looking into what the sun is hitting. Looks like we have some trees that broke up there from the wind we had the other day. We had a big storm, and I guess we lost a few cedars, as well as the rest of the sumacs. And there's a pile there. I have to redeem the willow. You see, here's the willow on the side here. Here's some here. But where is it? You know, I have to start. This is ostrich fern, this brown one. So where do they come from? Up here. Here's the fern. Way up here. Isn't that interesting? You see, before the pond, I think the fiddleheads went all the way to where, in fact, the fiddleheads went even into where the pond is. And so we ended up destroying something very important. My son wants to build a gazebo at the top there. Well, I put a piece of plywood up here years ago because there was no flat surface, and it was a lot of work. Oh, well, hello. Look at this, we're together. This is Kingfish, this is Fiddlehead Pond. And that is Kingfisher Lane. And right there is Teardrop Point. That is the moat. There's a little road that goes all the way around it. And inside of it is an island. Oh, there's the moat right there. I'm sorry. Inside it's the island. Over here is, on the map, it shows that there is a stream that comes here and goes up to the waterfall. But there's a pond at the foot of the waterfall. That's Iceberg Pond. Oh, yes, and the other pond is, the moat goes around, and then Grandma's cottage is in there somewhere. Yeah, in there. And then there's a pond beside it. See that little green fir tree? The fir tree is right at the edge of the pond. I don't know if you can see that. I wonder if I can go closer. Oh, look at that. So much simpler. Yeah, so there's the edge of the pond. And then on the other side, right in there, I have my Horseshoe Island grass hut. Isn't this wonderful? Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. I've just finished picking the fiddleheads. I filled the basket again. I love the little basket. It's made out of coconut shell. Now, wait a minute. The coconut that you see in the store is small and round, but it comes in a husk, and the husk is huge. I mean, it's bigger, it's about the size of a basketball, or at least a soccer ball. It's really hard. Anyway, the outer edge of it has been used in this basket. As the base of the basket, these pieces about the size, well, 3 or 4 times the size of my hand, are laid in there, one, until they fill the floor in. So I cheated today. I had some Coke. I know. Talk about bad choices. Well, I used Diet Coke, which is either a good choice or a bad choice. At least it doesn't give me the sugar. However, it does probably going to make me crave sugar. But anyway, so I had some Coke and I've been able to do some things. Hey, I just saw one scout. The first scout. Oh, here he is. The first scout. I can't tell the difference between black flies, and you can see him, he's right here going around. I can't tell the difference in black flies and the floaters in my eyes. Don't you just love it? Always something new to look forward to. I have to do positive thinking. I have really sunk. I really went into negative world. I think that there is a plague out here, a plague of mental health, a mental health plague. Now let me see if I can remember what I was going to say about that. I think it's called Malignant Narcissism. I think that's the name of it, which is the disease that Trump has. It's a psychosis. And it is a contagious kind of a disease. And it's a thing that authoritarian desiring people have. Anyway, but you can look at all of the behaviors, the revenge and the violence. There are no boundaries with this malignant psychosis. The person has absolutely no boundaries. Everything is about himself and power, and having power and attention. And so this malignant psychosis, there's also a huge segment of the society that, if you look at it from a sociology point of view, there are a lot of people in the society who feel that their desires are not being met by the government, who feel that they would like to change things. Now, this malignant psychosis, malignant narcissism, I think that's the right word. I'm pretty sure it's malignant, but I'm not sure, not 100%. Oh, maybe I wrote it down in here. Okay, so are you going to do that for a long time? It's a flicker. It goes on and on and on. Good morning, Suze. Isn't it wonderful to be outside? It went down to 4 degrees last night. We're not done with frost yet. The 1st of June is the last frost. Well, used to be. We'll see. Do you realize we have a good connection here? Isn't this cool? Anyway, so this narcissist, have you noticed that there's everybody talks about narcissism now? Like, since the dawn of Trump? Nobody ever talked about narcissism. I mean, it was one of those things, but okay. So there was this, the dangerous case of Donald Trump. 27 psychiatrists and mental health experts assessed the president. Now, there was a Declaration of Geneva mandates that physicians cannot. The Declaration of Geneva mandates physicians to speak up against destructive governments. The declaration was created in response to the experience of Nazism. So there's two major emotional drives: narcissistic symbiosis and shared psychosis. The developmental wounds that make the leader and follower relationship magnetically attractive. The leader, hungry for adulation to compensate for an inner lack of self-worth, projects grandiose omnipotence. Omnipotence is all power. There's omniscience, which is all-knowing, omnipotent, potent, which is power, and all-knowing, and being everywhere is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. Okay, so the other ones. Who's present? Okay, so did I get bitten? That was a fascinating thing. The leader, hungry for adulation to compensate for an inner lack of self-worth, projects grandiose omnipotence, while the followers, rendered needy by societal stresses or developmental injury, yearn for a parental figure. Now, isn't that interesting? There are so many fatherless children out there now. The society is not. That was just a message I just got on my phone, which I read. Societal stresses, developmental injury, the yearn for a parental figure. So, you talk about people that are messed up. Like there's 30%, or they say 3 out of 10. Yeah, 30% of children have been sexually abused. Can you imagine that? That's just unbelievable. That's at least what the figures say. I can't imagine it's true, but that's what they say. So you can see how that would be developmental injury and yearning for a real parental figure. Some turn to God as a parental figure. Now, some of these people do turn to God. Okay, so the followers rendered needy by societal stresses. So look at the times that we're in. I mean, of course, they like Trump from before. There's a lot of things about government that have always been bad. There's always waste of money here or there, and there's projects that really shouldn't go ahead, and lots of red tape, and like not really much. Always wanting to well, it becomes a self-sustaining thing too. You get this whole group of people that become politicians, and so politicians, it's their whole world to be the government. And many of them, some of them are lawyers. So they know the laws. But this, okay, so we have here this, when such wounded persons are given positions of power, they arouse similar pathology in the population that creates a lock and key relationship. So it fits together perfectly. So let's read that again. When such wounded persons are given positions of power, so they arouse similar pathology and in the population. You see, you've got one person saying something that you've been, the elephant in the room, right? That you really would rather not have this, whatever, but you have to have it, is the way it is. But then you get somebody that comes along and says, you don't have to have it at all. No, you just follow me and I will fix it. I will fix everything. I will fix your stock market. I will fix your jobs. I will fix the economy. I will fix your plague. I will fix all these things. I can do it, and I alone, and I am the smartest, and nobody knows as much as me. Anyway, and so then the people that need a savior of that, like this is when Jesus Christ was born, or when he, at that time, they were hoping for someone like Trump. They wanted someone that would come in there and overthrow the Roman government, someone that would violently lead them out of the situation they were in. And then they got Jesus Christ, who was like totally not about that. Like, what's this? And so they didn't particularly, they learned, right? They learned. So the same thing is going on now. There's so much, even after the pandemic allowed people that had decent jobs, that had good jobs, really good paying jobs. It allowed them, like those were people that worked on a computer. It allowed them to keep working. They worked at home. And so you have this huge amount of people that kept working. Meanwhile, you have this huger amount of people who couldn't work because everything had to be closed and they had to stay home. Now, is that fair? How fair is that? And so then you get people like, I don't know, Tucker Carlson winding everybody up. And you know, Tucker, before he had this job years ago, there was a fellow he knew who told us that, wrote an article, that he got in trouble. He got in trouble with the law. I think he had shoplifted or something. And Tucker Carlson, he was his friend, and he said, "That's great, man. That's great. You got your name in the paper. You're out there, man." And this is who it is that is the Pied Piper. And now he's been ousted from Fox, but he is gone somewhere else. Okay, let's carry on. Shared psychosis refers to the infectiousness of severe symptoms beyond an ordinary group of psychology. Shared psychosis refers to the infectiousness of severe symptoms beyond ordinary group psychology. So the infectiousness of, like, when he stands up there and says, "Lock her up," or "Hang him," or whatever he says, you know, and he gets the people going, and he says offhand things that he should be shot, or somebody should beat him up, or these violent things that that are part of him, his thing, his psychosis that he's got. And so then these other people who feel ripped off by everything, just ripped off. Life is not going right. And, you know, we used to just be white Christians, and now, look, we have to deal with learning other languages and knowing other people and sharing, and we're not used to that. We don't want to share. We don't want to help. We want our own. We want our nice, calm, organized, quiet way of life. Oh, here they come. I think if they discover I'm here, they will leave. On Sunday morning, I watched a pair of turtles meeting right over there. It was the most amazing thing. They stood tall on all four legs, and then belly to belly, they held each other's shells. So they were about 4 inches apart, and they just held on, and they would slowly tip from side to side in the pond. These mergansers don't seem to realize that I'm here. Danger, danger. It's interesting as they watch for danger and fish. This pair has been coming to the pond in the mornings for a few days. They have bright orange feet. That male, or the white one, he looks so much like a loon. He's huge. But he's a merganser. I guess they made me. But they have many ponds. They're way over there now. Oh, are they coming back? They circled back. I don't see them anymore. All I see now are my own, whatever those are called. Hello. Okay, now I can scratch my leg. I think I had a black fly in my clothes. Maybe, maybe not. Wasn't that nice? Wasn't that beautiful? So I've been sitting up here, or I look at this with you. Heads, which is break off the little ferns and keep them. The little round curly things that they just come out of the ground. These trees are dead. I hear the frogs starting. Listen to the sound of the frogs in yonder pond. So I got all these dead trees everywhere and all this stuff I have to clean up somehow. I should ask the church if we could have a work party. We can clean it all up. But we just lost our 4 missionaries, so I don't think we're going to have much help with that. Listen to the sound of the frogs in yonder pond. Doot, doot, doodle doo. They don't say doot, doot, they say. I don't know how it goes. That's okay not to know. So you see all those logs there floating on the water? See, that's how I make a bridge or a dock. I take those logs and I put boards over them. Then I have a dock. What if I took that dock and I got it over there into that pond and I just used that and I could stand on it to work on the bridge that I'm working on? I could use my kayak as well. That would be better, I guess. Kayak is laying in wait. I cut all the willow here. I have a whole patch of willow, and there's willow. You can see some of them are along the water, but there's a whole bunch of willow, and then there's willow over there and at the corner. And in front of the car, all that's willow. And this here, I made an archway. I could see that from the house. So the house is right up there behind this tree. We have a definite wetland. Now this is here from emptying the pond, the soil from the pond. And I have willow planted there. There's supposed to be a bit of a overflow from this pond to go into that. But it's kind of, I don't know, I guess the water table is even, isn't it? Or is it? It'd be interesting if I cut through. I wonder if that, is it blocked in there? Would it be lower if it could have moved? But that's okay because it's cleaning the water. The water is sinking through, and same in the island. And the cattails clean the water. So now I need to go harvesting cattails, but I guess the water is still too high. I want to get the tops. I want to put a collection of cattail tops. But I think it might be best. Hi, Tyler. And Suze. How are you? Evil never dies. It simply changes vessels. Oh, you're hot there, eh? Oh, I'm sorry to hear it. It's getting hot here now. I'd like it to stay like it is today forever. It's a perfect day. Spring. So now let's see, what was I going to do? So yesterday I left my big cutting, willow cutting tool. I think I left it up at Iceberg Pond. I was up in the chair sitting up there and realizing, now that the beavers have removed all the trees from both sides of the entrance, it's a new terrain, right? It's a new palette. And I've been slowly taking all these teepee poles. I have poles here and there. And I've been taking them over to Iceberg Pond here. A friend, the neighbor, gave me some more. They're down there by Sedge Meadow. Guess I'll just take them into Sedge Meadow and use them in there. How did I end up having them put there? I thought they were going to end up here where everything else was, but I have so many ponds and so many teepees, and for anybody to know what I'm talking about would be pretty difficult, I think. Willem finds it hard to know what I'm talking about. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Yes, so positive thinking is the thing. And in positive thinking, there's also creative thinking. Oh yes, we were having quite the discussion, weren't we? Shall we go back to this? About this shared psychosis? It refers to the infectiousness of severe symptoms, which is like the violent, those tendencies spreads through emotional bonds. So you have an emotion. So what happens is the people that like Trump they have an emotional bond with him. To them, they see him as the one that's going to save them from their poverty in the face of all the wealth that got generated during COVID. All those people that stayed home and worked on their computers got rich, and the people that worked at Shoney's and wherever else got really poor, and lots became homeless. And I think our good, easy life is changing. I mean, I think it's over, but I can't say that because that's negative. And how am I going to look at this in a positive light? I think there is new growth coming for us. The prophet said that in the coming days, like these are the last days. These are really the last days. But not quite yet. Not quite yet. There's a few things that have to happen before then. There has to be a temple built in Jerusalem, for one thing. That has to happen before the Savior returns. He's going to come to his temple, not to a wall. He's going to come to his temple. If it's his temple, it's going to be dedicated to him. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be his temple. Anyway, that has to happen. And then the gospel has to be preached to every nation, every tongue, every people, and that hasn't happened yet. There are a lot of people that still the rising generation. I mean, I don't know what they've been taught. I don't think they've been taught the gospel very much. I don't think that, it used to be parents took kids to church, but I mean, in society, I think in the United States, it was like 75% people went to church, and that was back when I was young. Everybody went to church, and you had to wear this terrible hat. I think I was a tomboy. I think I still am a tomboy. But I'm a girl, and I like being a girl. Even though I'm a tomboy, and I always find I have so much in common with men. When men are hanging out talking, and I'm standing there, it's really interesting to listen to the men. When the women are talking, it's like, there's nothing there. There's nothing important to hear. I don't mean that like that just came out. That came out really bad. But when there's a choice to stand and listen to the men talking about hunting and trapping and fixing things, and to me that is really interesting. But people that talk about fashion and sales and clothing and makeup and I'm not interested. And television shows and soap operas and now children, children are such a distant part of my life. I mean, my own children are grown, so there really aren't children except my grandchildren in my life. And so if I have the option to talk to a bunch of men or a bunch of women, I'm always going to want to talk to the men. They're so much more interesting. But you see, it's not because women couldn't be interesting. It's just that I am not interested in what they are interested in, the ones that I know. Boy, this is just terrible. I think that I could get in big trouble for all this stuff I just said, eh? Oh, well. I'm on my way out. It's okay. I don't need a job. Not right now. Sometimes I talk to people the seniors that have gone back to work after being retired, that stand there at Walmart and welcome people. I don't think I could handle that. I'd have to sit in my walker, but I couldn't do it. I have to be outside. Isn't it wonderful to be outside? Oh, I'm so glad we get to be outside. It's so wonderful. There's so much going on out here, There's just so much going on. There's nothing going on in the house. Nothing. But there's a lot going on out here. Now that bird is going with his wings really fast. What flies like that? Maybe it's a crow. We've been having eagles here. I know. Isn't that phenomenal? They've been sitting on the top of the tallest tree out there by that tall fir tree out there by the telephone poles. I don't know if you could see it or not, because I could do this and I could show you if you really wanted to know. Turn. Okay, so that tree there, that tall tree, and see the telephone poles. So this tree is where the bald eagle sat for quite a while one morning. I could see him from the house. That's my view in there, but from higher up. But I'm pretty high up here. This is the pile that came out. This is all the clay. This is the pile of clay that came out of the pond. And that is all the fertilized, the really good topsoil that was on that area. And he ended up driving up there to put stuff way up there. It was a terrible, I guess because he was there. Uh-oh, it looks like we're going to have to say goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. We don't have good connection. Goodbye, goodbye. We don't have good connection. Goodbye. All right, so I'm going to go and... What am I going to do? I've rested my back long enough, and I think I have energy on account of the Coke. Used to be I produced energy, but now my energy comes in bottles. See all these broken... See all these stumps through here? Where are they? Not there. Here, look at that beautiful line of trees that were growing. Now there are stumps. So maybe I'll make a little stump fence out of them. Or I'll wait a few years until they break off. See this, is this it? I can't really see very well here. Okay, so this is the intersection of 3 water bodies. So there's Fiddlehead Pond, the moat, and this water body is it's a marsh. It should have cattails growing in it. You know what? Let's go plant cattails. Let's go get that cattail and that cattail. I got on my tall boots. Let's go get that cattail and that cattail. And is there another one? There's this one here. Is it out a little further? Might be above my boots. Those 2 I could probably get. She's terraced. So it cost a whole day of work for him to come in and terrace this whole thing. So he ended up, that sloped over there. But at first it wasn't sloped. There's a terrace that goes all around. And then you go in there and then there's another terrace that goes in. The idea of that was so that the grandchildren could play and catch frogs and things like that on the edge of the pond. And I have grandchildren that are not interested in that at all. 0. Which is a real pain. I mean, what children aren't interested in frogs and bugs? No. Okay, so what am I going to do? I don't have to do that. I have to do fiddleheads. Today is Fiddlehead Day. They're going to be turning into ferns very quickly. So I think I need to move that pile of wood right there. I think I need to move that off of where there's ferns. I need to put it on the grass so that it's not burying the fiddleheads. And then I need to harvest the ones there. I leave three fronds to each. These are not dandelions. There's something else. I forget what they're called. They're the first flower. I'm gonna put flower decorations on my clothes again with a hammer. I'm gonna hammer them on. But you need a bunch, because this is good for one. See, I got on my yellow shirt under here. See my yellow shirt? This is the shirt that I pounded flowers on, but then they all ran. Because I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I wore it and got it dirty before I washed it in salt. And this is going to close up. It would be best to carry a hammer in my car everywhere I go. Then I could take these, and I could take the little tiny purple ones that are growing right now in the yard. The Creeping Charlie. I can't smell anymore. I wonder if I have a sinus problem. I can smell a little bit, but not like I used to. They say if you wet your nose, oh yeah, you can smell better. Here's my decoy duck. He's the attractor. Must work. I also put crushed corn on that yesterday. I'll have to go back and see if any's there, if some animals or birds ate it. Let's see, what else has been going on here? I'm not offended. I completely understand. Oh, good. I'm glad you understand. Yes. I think that if women want to be treated like men, then they have to have better things to think about than fashion. I have no place to talk about any of this because I never had a career. I wanted a career. My children was going to be my career, and it was. And I have a career of raising children, and I think they all turned out wonderfully. They were all wonderful people. And my influence on them was, I mean, they do all have good, I don't know the word for it, principles. They have, I did teach them something. They're not in my church. They're not interested in what I'm interested in. How could that be? However, it's the way it is, and it's all right. We all have that opportunity to pursue what we want to pursue, and I'm grateful that I had that choice. I'm grateful for the choice I've made. And there's this other thing that was part of this psychosis, and it was about it's funny when he talks about the Bible. Oh, it's the greatest book. What's your favorite verse? Oh, I don't want to get into specifics. Have you read it? What? Why? I know more than that is in there. Why would I need to read it? I could have written it. I'm sorry. This is all very rude. Rude behavior, but at least I'm happy. That is a flicker. That's where they came up with don't interrupt from. Yes, in the beginning, there was the raven and there was the flicker. Every time the raven would try to teach the people, the flicker would interrupt. But they went on. And then the interrupting became too much, and the raven said, from now on, we do not interrupt. If you interrupt, you will be banned. And they cast him away. And that's why there are very few flickers out there in the world. And they don't come to every feeder because because they are the great interrupter. And forevermore, we teach our children, do not interrupt. Hey, I think that's another one over there. Oh no, that's a pileated woodpecker. Shall we turn around and look and see where he is? Look at this, I have energy and interest. Somewhere, oh, I see him, okay. Somewhere up there. Now, where are you? Are you on that long skinny branch? No. Oh, I can't figure it out. I did see him at some point. He's up there. Oh, there he is up there. Jumping about. I guess, somewhere up there. All right, that's enough. And so, the flicker, because his sound flicks off from time to time. Hey, look, I have a chair in there. I think I could get that chair out. I'm sure I have a location for it better than that. In fact, I think it blew off of up here. I used to have 2 chairs up here, you see? Oh, yes, if I'm going to get up and go somewhere else, then we're going to get cut off. So I guess I better say, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen.